Serious question, how are people affording anything in 2025? I'm having surgery in 2 weeks on my neck, so I was told to get certain types of shirts so it wouldn't bother the area. I go to Goodwill. I'm looking at prices $9.99 for used shirts that are of no brand of value at all anywhere. Like maybe it was Target. I don't even know. I probably could go to Target and get it for like brand new for the same price at this point. I don't know. But seriously, how is it that I have just gotten priced out of a thrift store? Not only that, I cannot remember the last time I actually went out and had a meal in a restaurant. We do not order out. We don't even get pizza because we're trying to save everything for 2025 with all of my health stuff. I am so sick of my own fucking cooking. You have no idea. I'm a bad cook. And I am so freaking tired of my own food. But how do people afford to go to a restaurant, sit down, and have a meal? Like, that is a foreign concept to me at this point. And I can't remember the last time I went and saw a movie in a theater. I can't even afford to rent them on demand. We'll show you what I do. This is what I do. I have an enormous DVD collection. And this is all I can afford, because I will get these at the thrift stores. Cheap as shit. To be honest with you, I feel like I'm 20 years old again, and I'm living pennies to pennies and can't afford anymore. How are people doing this?
Hey y'all, welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome. My name is Lumi, and today we're going to continue looking at some more cost of living TikToks. So this first one, I know what she's saying. Like I feel the same way. Like you got to get creative sometimes. When she showed us how she watches movies now, thrifting for DVDs at a thrift shop at like Goodwill. No one buys DVDs anymore. So there must be like a bargain bin where they sell them, probably for like $2 a pop or something ridiculous, or maybe like $5. But yeah, I mean, it's expensive to have like the streaming services every month. What is Netflix at now? Like $17 a month? It's almost $20 for, just TV, movies, junk. Oh, it's like you can't even afford like just like the little comforts, the creature comforts that would make adult life a little less stressful. Like we can't even afford that anymore, you know? Oh, another thing, she said that she can't afford to eat out anymore. Yeah, no, like where I'm at, it's the same way. I was blown away. I got some pizza, like a large pizza with it wasn't crazy, no crazy or extra amount of toppings. It was just like a normal amount, but it was a large, and some beer. Guess how much it was for all of that? It was almost like $50. $50 for a pizza and beer. It's ridiculous. Like I don't know. I'm right there with her. I'm like, how do people afford this stuff? Like what are they doing? Like how do they have the little, what little money you have left after rent and insurance and car payments, all that stuff decimates your paycheck. Like where do they get the extra cash? They must be doing like side hustles or like side gigs or something. I mean, maybe they're like Ubering, maybe they're Uber Eatsing or whatever. I've seen people DoorDash in like a Mercedes and Lexus. Like it's like, okay, there's something going on. If you've got people with that kind of money doing like, the hustle culture, like what is it called? The like gig work. That's how you know there's a problem.
Hey, U.S. government here. So here's the situation. So our population is dipping below the replacement level, and as the U.S. government, we can't have that. So, your responsibility now is to have children for us. Okay, yeah, no, not a problem. So I just have a couple questions. For one, are you going to help with the housing market crisis that's going on right now? Because a lot of my generation cannot afford a $400,000 house. No. Okay, how about putting a cap on rent? Because $1,500 for rent is severely out of budget. No. Okay, what about helping with medical bills? Because, going to all those prenatal appointments and then actually giving birth and then the baby's appointments, like, medical bills are just so expensive and so hard to keep up with. So can you guys help out with that? No. Alright. Could you guys remove the abortion law? Because what if there's that slim chance I get pregnant and it becomes ectopic and then they won't do a life-saving procedure on me because the baby has a life? No, we're not removing that. Alright, what about the cost of formula? Because I know there are a lot of mothers out there who just can't breastfeed, and then having to buy a container to 2 containers a week of formula is it's super expensive. Yep, we can't help with that, sorry. Alright. What about gas prices? Like, I know in a lot of states, like my state, gas is $4 a gallon. So, like, driving around all these doctor's appointments and going to work, like, can we help with that? No. Oh. Since you guys aren't willing to lower the cost of the things I've listed, are you able to help raise my wages so I can afford these items? No. Alright, so let me get this straight. You won't help with housing, you won't put a cap on rent, you refuse to help with medical bills, you won't remove the abortion law that actually makes it super unsafe to have a child, you won't help lower the cost of groceries or gas or formula. So what are you guys actually gonna do to help us have kids? Nothing? You just need to stop being lazy, get your ass into work, and get it together and have a kid so we can fix this population problem. How's that sound? No.
Freaking 100% behind her on this. Like, if there's one thing you can do to kind of fight back against this, it's basically oppression, right? It's like financial oppression. Is to not have kids, And then I think once the population crisis gets so out of hand, there's like change will have to come, because watch, in a few years, in like 10, I think we'll start seeing the effects in like 10, 20 years. Once the what is it? Social Security starts getting completely collected on, and a population of older people, right, that's growing, and there's not enough people, younger people, to sustain it, right? So once we start seeing more and more people collect on Social Security, I think that's when I think the government will have to step in and be like, okay, we gotta like either strong arm the companies into giving better wages, or actually, do something that, like she listed in the video, like put a cap on rent, or there's like assistance with groceries or like gas or something. Like, I feel like if you're working a full-time job, work should be paying, like if you have to go in, work should be paying you to come in. So like they should be paying your gas bill, they should be paying you for putting miles on a car that you own, right? Like they need to be doing a lot more for the employee. And if not just raising wages, because ultimately it comes down to the wages, right? They have been stagnant for so long. Like, something's got to change.
Right I have had it, I swear on the almighty baby Jesus, that if I hear another brain-dead person stating that if I didn't buy a coffee or my Netflix subscription, that I would easily be able to afford my own home, I'm going to start murderalizing people. I mean, I've had it with this lazy idea that Gen Z and millennials are just straight up lazy and they buy all of these frivolous things and that is why they cannot afford a home. No, Susan, we can't afford a home because the prices are unacceptable. If you go back to the 1980s when you bought your house for a shoestring and a button, the average salary was £15,000 and the average house price, that was £30,000. So, double seems relatively fair. Today, the average salary, yes, it has gone up to £30,000, but the housing prices have averagely gone up to £325,000. You know, 11 times the average annual salary. That's why we can't afford it. The most common living arrangement for people under 30 is to now live at home with their parents. And I know this firsthand because at the age of 27, I had to move home with my mother. And I still live there today because it is cheaper for me personally to do a 150-mile round drive every single day than it is for me to rent here in London. Don't get me wrong, this is the best time of all of history to be alive. We have things like the internet, and even though it connects all of us, this is the most disconnected generation forever. There is no wonder nor no reason as to why we are all suffering from a loneliness epidemic. Okay, we don't have diseases like diphtheria, tuberculosis, shingles, rickets, polio trying to kill us at every turn. No, we just have our food doing that slowly. Enough with the fact that Gen Z and millennials are lazy. We're not. I currently have 3 jobs. I run a tourism business here in London. I'm a very, very slightly successful content creator. And I do loads of other little jobs on the side if I can. And I still cannot afford to leave home. Stop telling us that if you stop with the Netflix and stop with the coffees and stop with the frivolous things like, I don't know, food, you'd be able to afford a house, because it's nonsense. Do better. Look after your children, because for the first time ever, your children are going to be more poor than you. That's the first time that that's ever happened. Hopefully, it'll be the last time that it ever happens if people with some common sense and rational thinking actually come to power. Whew! But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have a fabulous day. And as you
I like this guy. He's cool. He's got a cool aura about him. But yeah, no, it's I like how he goes into how it's all kind of connected, you know, with like well, ironically that, you know, we're the most like disconnected generation, right? And we have all these problems, all these issues financially and also emotionally, and trying to, you know, communicate with one another. It seems like we're kind of like pitted against each other, or, you know, nothing feels worth doing anymore because it's like, well, why even bother? It's almost impossible to do X, Y, Z. But, you know, we just gotta keep pushing, guys. I know I cover a lot of like real stuff here, but, you know, try not to get too down on your, you know, try not to get too down on all this stuff. It's I don't know. I kind of like have to I have to remind myself that like things can change. I'd like to hope that in the future, you know, with these problems, like we're gonna find solutions, and you know, we have to use the powers that we have. You know, like I've said before. You have the power to vote. I mean, if you're old enough, go vote. You know, vote on the things that matter to you, and hopefully, you know, with the there's a term for it. It's like the gosh, I forget the term, but it's like the average human will want what's usually best for all of humanity, you know? So hopefully, you know, through democracy, right, through our votes, we will come up with the right solutions and we'll vote the right people in who will hopefully make things better for the collective, you know. I think for too long now, only a very select few people have been able to flourish in the past few years, and the rest of us, something's got to give, and it's us, you know. The ultra wealthy just take it all, and then we're left with scraps. So, but anyway, I'm gonna wrap this one up here, guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you didn't, dislike it if you dislike it. Let me know in the comments what you think, or if there's anything you want me to cover next. And consider subscribing if you enjoy this sort of thing. But anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.